everybody, I'm Teresa, and thanks for coming back and checking out my channel today. I want to say thank you to all of my new subscribers. I am almost 50. I know it sounds like such a small number to be excited about, but I'm almost to 50, and that means that our giveaway is going to be closing soon. So as I'm filming this introduction, it is Friday morning, and I am guessing I need about 2 more subscribers to come so that I can close out our giveaway. So just as a reminder, make sure you're going on to that Dollar Tree haul and giveaway, I think is the title. Go in there, check out the video, and enter in for the giveaway. I believe it'll probably close either Saturday at noon or Sunday at noon, so make sure that you're in there and checking it out. For today's DIYs, I actually really wanted to do more, but when I started editing everything, I realized I was already at about 20 minutes, so I decided to go ahead and cut it off, and I'll probably do another Christmas tree related video. But we've got all of these great crafts here for you to do, either craft, decor, however you want to call it. And so I'm super excited to share all of this with you. As always, please subscribe if you haven't already, and if you recreate anything, tag me on Instagram so I can check it out. And if you happen to have a YouTube video and you're watching this, let me know, and I'll be happy to subscribe and help support your channel too. So I hope you enjoy, and I will see you next time.
All right, we're going to start off with our tree vase. This is some stencil vinyl that I cut out, and I just weeded it all through. And then I'm going to clean off the glass with some rubbing alcohol, and that way we have a good spot for everything to stick. And then we'll put on our vinyl on to kind of like keep it from spray painting everything. Oh, I lied. First I'm going to do this painter's tape across the top. I didn't want to get any of the spray paint inside of the glass, just in case I wanted to put like a real candle in there or whatever. I just didn't really want it to get on there. And I wanted to keep kind of that rim clean, if you would. And I'm going to just flip it over and trace along the edge with my X-Acto knife, just to take away all of that tape and make sure that that tape doesn't hang off too much when we're actually spray painting it. If you have some wider painter's tape, that would be much better than this thinner one that I used. And so once we're all set with that, I am going to also remove that sticker on the bottom. I'm going to go ahead and spray paint the bottom of it too, so just kind of keep it all nice and consistent. I do end up going in with a gold spray paint. I will have it linked below if you're interested in what it is. I believe it is just a Rust-Oleum one or something from Target. Nothing too crazy expensive, just want to make sure that you get everything all cleaned up before you go in with that spray paint. So give it one more rub down, and then I'm going to go in with the vinyl after I kind of clean up some stuff. I laid down to do the vinyl. I kind of feel like that's going to be the easiest way. And what I would recommend, if you're going to make something like this, use more of those thin trees. I'll have them linked for you, but I definitely recommend the thinner trees. The thicker trees I felt like had too much of a big opening. And I do even end up putting them a little too close to each other. I decided I wanted to do 3, so I didn't want them, I didn't want to have 2 of them too close, but I ended up doing it anyways. I think it looks okay though. At the end result, I think it looked okay. You're just going to want to also make sure that you're smoothing out all of your air bubbles as best you can. And I decided to keep them level. One of the things I was using as inspiration, they were a lot more spread apart. So here it is after it's spray painted. I'll go ahead and take off that painter's tape. And I'm just going to use my weeding tool just to kind of start lifting up that vinyl. It does tear a little bit, and it did bleed a little bit, but it's pretty subtle. You can't really see too much of it. So I like the way it ended up in the end. And I'm so sorry about the lighting in here. We have had some really weird cloudy days. Sometimes it's cloudy, sometimes it's sunny, and this is before I actually set up my lighting that I have now, that you'll see at the end of the video. And so I just kind of peel it off. It will, if you do use this stencil vinyl, it does kind of peel a little bit weird, like as in it doesn't come off all in one go. So it's going to rip and tear a little bit, and it's not too bad though. And I think here in a minute, my daughter does end up, yep, see, there she is. She just had to wave. And So yep, you'll just peel off all that you have. Try not to scratch the glass. This glassware is from the Dollar Tree, so it's not like it's some real high end type of thing. So just so you know, it is possible to do. And that's the end of that one. So next we're going to go into one of these little tree shadow boxes. I'm going to use my heat gun on the edges to try and loosen up the adhesive holding the backing on. And then I'll take my X-Acto knife and try to clean up all of the edges with the paper. And also my heat gun to try to loosen up that glue that was holding it on. At first when I was going to make this, I was going to make it completely different actually. And I was going to use the bells and I was going to string it from side to side, and this little triangle is just not big enough to really do that. Either that or my bells are way too big for that particular project. So that is why I am going in like crazy and cleaning up the edges, because I was thinking I wasn't going to put the backing on, and as you could tell from the beginning of the video, I do end up putting the backing back on. So it does, that is pretty much why I'm cleaning it up as much as I am. And if you're going to end up putting the backing back on, you could really skip over most of this. I'm just going to clean up all that paper so it doesn't kind of end up getting stuck to everything. See, there's my little visitor again coming in for a snack. And so you'll just clean it up best you can. I end up going in with some sandpaper towards the end. That really seemed to be the best method. So if you are going to leave it and not glue anything back on, or if you just really want it to be cleaned up, I think that the sandpaper method is the best. And then I'll just go in, some little clumps that are stuck with the glue are still there. So once I'm all done with that, I am going to go in and clean it up with just a little bit of rubbing alcohol just to make sure we don't have any last little bits of paper and everything like that, because I do end up painting it. I'm going to go in with the Folk Art Antique Wax, and I'm going to kind of go in where it's all like that wood color. I wanted it a little darker, and what ends up being really funny is once I'm done with this antique wax, I go over it with a kind of like a beigey colored paint. I think it's called Whispering Wheat. And what's funny is it ends up being almost exactly the same color I started off with. So don't do that if you want it to be darker. So I do, like as I'm going, I'm noticing there's a lot of glue kind of left in that triangle part, like in the corners and stuff. So if you're going to paint it, clean that up first. Go through and make sure you've gotten rid of any little bits of glue. So I put on a good coat, and then I am going to go in and wipe off the excess. I liked the idea of having it so you could see kind of that wood grain look to it, and do the inside as well. So keep that in mind depending on what you end up wanting to do with it, if you're going to paint it all or if you're going to just go in and leave it natural. I think it's really pretty natural as well, but my end result, I did end up with it a little bit darker. So if you do the antique wax and you want it back to the lighter, just paint over it with almost like a beige color. I didn't want to do white. I thought the white would be too much. So you just do all the insides and the outside. I don't think I ended up doing the bottom just because it's going to be sitting down on the bottom. And to get in the corner, I just kind of took my paper towel and wrapped it in the back side of my X-Acto knife. Oh, nope, I did that and then it didn't really work too well. I ended up putting it on the inside of my scraping tool from my Cricut. So that ended up getting nice in there in the corners. I do go in with that same antique wax and do the corners, or not the corners, do the front part of it, and I believe I did the back too. So here it is. We're going to go in with that Whispering Wheat, and I'm just going to go over it. At first I figured, hey, I'm just going to do the front just to give it a little something to offset it, but I was sloppy in my painting, so I ended up doing the sides too. I like the way it ended up, but I definitely think I could have left it darker than it was, considering it ends up being pretty much the same color it started as. But that's okay, we learn. And see, here I am, I'm going to start off on the inside and the sides, and you just kind of take a little bit, and I'm not even really painting it so much as I'm smudging it. I'm just taking it and smearing it and smudging it because you do have that wax down. It is very waxy, without a better word for it, really. And that way, what it's going to do is not going to really leave it to where you have a lot of paint strokes if you do it that way. So, depending on how you like things, if you like things more in that distressed way, I would recommend definitely just going in on the edges, because otherwise it ends up like it all the way across. So now this is after my failed attempt at stringing all of those bells through it. I decide, when in doubt, put some lights on it, because it's Christmas. Everybody has, it's so pretty, just magical to have kind of all that lights from everything. So I take some fairy lights. These are from Walmart. I think they're $3.88. You could certainly use the ones from Dollar Tree as well. They'll work just as well. The thing with the ones from Walmart, they do have a setting on there where you can change it. It'll fade, it'll flash, and it has a timer. So if that's something that you want, that is definitely the way to go. $3.88. Does not include the batteries though, just to warn you. So what I do is I string them back and forth kind of at a little bit of an angle. When I started it off, I went across the base. And then I'm going to do is, since obviously I have more string left, I'm going to just do the perimeter almost. And if you're going to put the backing back on, which I did end up doing, you're going to want to try to keep it kind of on the edge of the triangle, kind of like on the inside edge, so that when you're putting the backing on, you're not going to worry too much about it being, you're not going to worry about it being in the way, and that you're going to end up losing a lot of your lights or something if you glue it on there. So keep it on the inside edge. At this point, when I'm making this project, I did not know that I was going to put the back on. I did it, and my son was like, "Mom, that doesn't really look like a Christmas tree." So he's 8, so he's so funny about most of my crafts that I've been doing. I would say definitely keep it. I think that it ended up looking the best, honestly, with the backing. So once I've done the perimeter, I still have a little left, so I'm just going to kind of go back in that like back and forth zigzag method, as you can see. That way you can kind of get a lot of light in there. It's really pretty when you got a lot. They do sell, I want to say it's like closer to $6 a string. That's closer to $6 that has more lighting in it. So once you've gotten that all set up and done, I do end up putting in the batteries, and I thought I edited this part out, but there they are. There's the batteries, and somehow when I was going to film it, I somehow deleted it where I was putting the backing back on, but I'll show you at the end how it ended up. And oh yes, I added a bell. I thought the bell at the corner was cute. So on to the next one. Here is one of these Christmas tree forms with all this tinsel on it. I ended up taking the tinsel off, and I wanted it really just for the tree form. And this was another one that I tried doing something totally different with those skewer sticks, trying to use the form to make like the sticks into a tree and then put this twine on it. It didn't work, so it just did not work out. I filmed it and I was like, I don't need to show them the failed attempt at this, so I'm just going to use the form and I'm going to string the twine through it. And I'll show you at the end of this part another method of using it for the twine, but I'm just going to kind of go along, and you're trying to really cover those little dots. There's a bunch of them. What I recommend, and I'll show at the end, I end up removing the dots from my second tree, which again, I don't know how I did it, but I deleted the film after that. But yeah, the dots are nice if you're going to go and have it be all thick through. If you go and have it, all the way solid, it's really best to keep the dots because they do kind of help you. But mind you, they are harder to cover with this thinner twine. If you're going to do it real thick, solid with twine or yarn or whatever you're going to use, I suggest getting a thicker one. This is the one from the Dollar Tree. Walmart sells one, I think, for like maybe $5. That's really thick. And I even have it, and had I thought about it, I would have used that one, but I discovered I had it sitting in one of my containers of crafting stuff when I ran out of this one on my second tree. And then I looked at it and just figured like, oh, well, this would have been good for the last one. So what I end up doing is I do put like a little dot of glue on top of these little nubs, and that helps to keep it there, you know, depending on if that's what you're trying to do, if you're trying to cover them. If on my next one that you will just kind of see at the end in the photos, I do end up spray painting one of the forms white. And I skipped ahead for you so you didn't have to watch, you know, this is, I would say, worse than paint drying. And you're just going to kind of weave it all through. I wasn't trying to be real neat about it. I just wanted it to cover everything. I didn't want to see a lot of that black form. So you're just going to go through, and I do end up just kind of spinning it around, twirling it to get it, you know, laid in there. It just kind of depends on how neat you want it. If you want it a little messy, a little more rustic, you could definitely do it like that. It's just if you want to cover up all of those things. And then at the end I just start gluing big sections and start I just kind of gave up on the really neat and just decided this would work just well. So I do put the glue on and then do a large section at a time, like this right here. I just do a large section. It really works well at the end. It's harder to do as you go through it, so just to be warned. And I'll just go like that, and then we're just about done, and I'll finish it off by just cutting a little bit off here at the end. I'm just kind of looking at it just to make sure I got everything, you know, covered as far as the black form goes. And we'll just fold it down a little bit on the top, and then we will cut it off and glue it down, and then that little guy is going to be done. And yes, I'm thinking this is a guy. It's obvious, right? I mean, really, it's a guy. Sorry. So here it is, it's all finished, and I do end up deciding it needs a little something extra, so when in doubt, like I said, add some lights. This is the same one, the $3.88 one at Walmart. So on this one, what I do is I actually start at the back side of it. So instead of starting at the very edge, or not the edge, but instead of starting at the beginning of the lights where they end, I start on where they're closest to the battery pack, because I do want to hide that battery pack underneath. And I end up deciding I'm just going to glue it a little bit more at the base, so I kind of unravel it a little, and trying to do it to where it's not gonna have to double up. So I glue it at the bottom just a little, and if you decided you didn't want to keep it on the tree once, you know, the season is over, it's not too much glue to take off, so I don't glue it, you know, the entire thing down or anything like that. Just a couple spots at the bottom, and then I do glue it up at the top. You just kind of keep raveling it around until you've gotten to the top, and there it is. And what's nice is you can hide that little battery pack, and it does have other options. See, there's the flashing one, and there's one that's kind of like fades. I think the one that fades is actually really pretty on this. And look, there, bam, it's gone. You don't even know it's got battery pack under there. It's perfect. And so we're all set with that one. And here I am showing you that alternative way. I just am taking some wire cutters and kind of just snipping off all of those little nubs. And just to warn you, if you decide to do this, they fly absolutely everywhere. So do it in a place where it's easy to clean up. And so then I'm going to just go in with some sandpaper and kind of sand it down a little bit, just so you can try to get them to where they're not just sticking up so much. It just kind of depends on how you're going to cover it. This one I do end up spraying it white, like I said, and I go in with my twine in a lot more of like a erratic way. I don't worry about completely covering it. A lot of the white shows through, and what's really cute, I end up putting a candle in it at the end to give it kind of like some light coming through the form. It looks really pretty. Here's how everything turned out. I really like how it's all very kind of like a rustic and it goes with my woodland stuff if you'd seen that video. And thanks everyone for taking up the time to check out my video. I'm gonna probably do, like I said, another Christmas tree video because I really enjoyed it, and I just have a couple other ideas. So let me know down in the comments what was your favorite one, and if you're interested in another tree video. And I will see you next time. Bye!